ladies and gentlemen. Christine here with another fun episode this week of the Co-Living Code Show, where I interview operators, experts, investors, anybody that has to do with the co-living industry on the show each week, every Wednesday, like clockwork. And today we actually have Bart on from SPX Agency, which is Super Positive Experience Agency. They've actually done the graphics on our YouTube channel, and they just did our last co-living industry report PDF, which is beautiful. We were so excited because, again, we're not graphic designers here at Kindred, so it was nice to bring in the professionals. And the best part is that they work with some of the largest co-living brands in the world. They are super talented. I was lucky enough to have brunch, rooftop brunch with Bart while I was living in Amsterdam this summer, and that's where they're headquartered. And just, I mean, you're going to see in this interview, like, he's super passionate about co-living, and we actually share the same definition of co-living, which you'll see I was like smiling when you explain, co and living, co meaning community. That's what I always say also. So let me read you his bio, and then we'll launch into this week's episode. So Bart Sasim is the CEO and founder of SPX Agency, a creative branding agency based in Amsterdam, specializing in creating future-proof real estate brands. With its niche expertise, SPX Agency helps brands adapt fast to the changing landscape of the real estate industry, where the new generation of young professionals and students are changing the way we live, work, and learn together. By helping to shape and build student housing, co-living, and co-working brands from concept to development, SPX Agency strives to foster a sense of social responsibility and sustainable growth in brands to positively influence the cities and communities of tomorrow. As creative partners in business, SPX Agency supports its clients in the full spectrum of branding and marketing related activities to help roll out their brand and take the overall customer experience to new heights. In addition, it offers innovative tools within new media such as 360-degree video and photo, VR, and AR to help its partners adapt to the digital-driven times and take on more of a hospitality-like approach to attract customers, providing them with an information-rich and more memorable customer experience. SPX Agency has worked to shape brands ranging from the Student Hotel, the Class of 2020, and Stay 2 Apartments, operated and managed by MPC Capital, to Our Campus in Our Domain, operated and managed by Greystar, and Bonnard, formerly known as Student Marketing, amongst others. So enjoy this great conversation with Bart with SPX Agency, where we talk about the importance of branding in your co-living concept. Hi, everybody. Christine here with another weekly episode of the Co-Living Code Show and podcast. Excited today to bring on Bart, who's the founder, CEO of SPX Agency. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, which I hope some of you have at least checked us out on YouTube, you get to see our beautiful graphics on our YouTube channel and the little cute video intros on the beginning and end. And Bart's team is the one that did that. And, we had brunch in Amsterdam, what was it, maybe 1 or 2 months ago, which was awesome.
Indeed.
Outdoor,
Yes.
summertime. Really got to know Bart. What's really unique about their agency is they work with a lot of student accommodations and co-living concepts, some really cool ones. So I'm going to let him get into that in more detail. So Bart, thank you so much for coming on today and letting me do an interview and learn more about everything you know about graphic design, how design plays a role in student accommodation and co-living sectors. So welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for having me here.
Of course.
Yeah.
So of course, I want to ask first, what are the origins of SPX Agency?
Origins of SPX Agency. I think it all started with education. So I'm actually a trained interior architect with background also in residential architecture. I've been studying recycling buildings. So that's where I got actually obsessed about interactions within interiors. So in 2006, when I started studying, I was really convinced that what I'm going to be doing is going to be architecture, or at least, recycling this architecture, already existing ones, right? So thanks to my studies, which were very interdisciplinary, I managed to develop other skills, and I got passionate about photography, videography, and other disciplines. So it all came together. And when I was graduated already from my university, I thought it would be great, if I do something more than just architecture. So it was the time when Europe was in the middle of real estate crisis. I guess US too, 2009, and I had two projects in London, mainly retail and interiors. And I decided to reposition myself a little bit and start doing graphic design and a bit of communication. And after the studies, I did another studies, and then I ended up with actually commercial work with one of our first clients.
And then that first client was?
The student hotel.
Yes.
So
Which,
Charlie was
Charlie.
actually here.
So we both know
Yeah,
Charlie. He's been on the
yeah,
show, so you guys can look back and listen to that cool interview.
yeah.
And that was what was so impressive when I met Charlie first, and then met Bart there in Amsterdam. And I mean, I love the student, and I stayed at the student hotel for 3 months. So I loved their branding and their look and their feel, and it was just edgy and like just really cool that you were helping with that project, back then in the beginning, in the infancy.
Yeah, it was really amazing project. Like Charlie is such such an inspirational person. He's a true leader, so he can translate his energy to the team. So when I started, the team was very small. I was an external person at that time, very young designer with interdisciplinary background. I could try my skills in all sorts of disciplines. So we had like marketing team, we had sales team, we had like development team, and all of those teams needed to have nice looking materials. We had to brand it, market it, and it was such a fantastic journey with them. We're truly living the brand. At the time, there was no brand such as the Student Hotel. So Charlie brought this insights from his previous projects in UK, and he translated this into this new brand called the Student Hotel. Very exciting project. I was very happy to be part of the team, and he's got such an amazing team like Frank and Felix, and all the rest of founding crew are true entrepreneurs, and they are like very, very ambitious people. So I'm sure that they're gonna get far. They already did it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny. I know the people here from the States are going to kill me probably, but Europe, the whole 5 months I was there, I was taking pictures of, there'd just be posters of music festivals on the street corners. But just the design, it's just this really unique, clean, edgy design, graphic design that I just don't see enough of that happening in the States for whatever reason. I don't know why. Do you Europe just seems really strong, especially Amsterdam, strong on the design. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel the same. I've been to States a couple of times. I've been actually all over States. Right after my journey at the Student Hotel, I actually went for 1.5 months to New York, Miami, Washington DC, LA, San Fran, and a few other places, Chicago. And I think there is a sense of style in US. It's just different. I think Europe is very minimalistic. We like to keep it simple. And here especially in Amsterdam, you can see a lot of great design here in Amsterdam, in London, in Barcelona, in all these big cities. You can see posters, you can see murals, you can see great merchandising, shop displays. I think Europe is pretty big on design. And that's why I love it.
Yeah, and how long have you been in Amsterdam again?
I've been in Amsterdam already for like 5 years. So I'm actually a nomad. I've been living in different places around the world. So this is actually home, just another home, but I love it here. It's absolutely fantastic. There is so much stuff happening here.
I know, I miss it already. I'll be back for sure.
You should come back,
yes,
definitely.
I know. And then when I'm in California, I'm like, oh, I love California. So it's like, I wish I could live in two places at the exact same time. And that would definitely be Amsterdam and California. So I would love to hear, like, what do you guys, well, first off, what does SPX stand for those that don't know?
Oh, okay. SPX stands for Super Positive Experience, and this is actually the full name of our brand. And why Super Positive Experience? Actually, it comes from the approach of our agency to design. We focus on building experiences with our end customers, right, and also obviously with our clients directly. So experience is very important. We do know that products are extremely important, and explaining the product properly is a crucial must to do. And I think experience is something that we got really good in. So taking this product and showing the lifestyle and connecting this with people and building some memories that are lasting a little bit longer, that are truly I don't know, experiential. It's something like something that really makes us passionate about living something more than just a product, just a graphic, leaving somebody with something else. So that's why experience is so important. And super is actually coming from Super Agency, because that's our main brand. We've got umbrella structure in our company, so we do deal with real estate as our diamond, let's say, brand, but we also work with hospitality and corporate brands.
No, in Bart, I think I told you this already. Like, to me, co-living is a blend of hospitality and real estate. Like, they're blended, like it's both the best worlds. So I'm so glad you guys are niche down to those sectors, because then you can communicate them so clearly, right?
Indeed, yeah, we can communicate, we can learn more. We learn from hospitality brands on how we can improve real estate brands better. So it's actually an ecosystem. So we are focused on just 3 different segments, but each of them actually belongs one to another, and it helps us also to innovate, bring new expertise, build new skills, and obviously obtain knowledge. So that's something that is very important. We want to be specialized, and this is our main focus. Actually, real estate, hospitality, and corporate parties. So we don't do everything. we are like passionate about these.
Yes. No, what's that saying? A jack of all trades, a master of none. Like, the people that try to do everything, they can't master one thing. And you guys have definitely mastered this sector. I know this isn't like supposed to be a commercial for SPX. It's not, it's an interview, but I will vouch, like, get this, and everybody knows the quarterly report we just put out here in August. We're recording this in August, but the report just came out, the quarterly for Q3, and it's beautiful. And it's because you're in your guys' team. It was a super positive experience. me and Lauren have to compile so much data, and we can't make it look pretty. And so it was really cool to partner with you guys on to make it just so visual and so easy to digest. And I'm sure everybody that got the report, seen the report, appreciates that. So, but the whole experience was so easy. You guys were like, hey, here you go. Like, you guys were just on it. And that's appreciative anytime you're dealing with graphic designers, right? We usually want things done fast, and you guys were super fast.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And then name some of the, I know you guys you've done a lot of work previously too with the class of 2020 also, right?
It actually started from the class of 2020. So right after my studies here in Netherlands, I got scouted by Frank, one of the directors from the student hotel. This was the first branding project actually done in real estate. And right after this, right after very short, it was very intense. It was very short project. But we managed to deliver, and right after this, I guess Frank was happy, and he wanted to move me directly to the student hotel, and then we started working together in 2012, I believe. So many years ago, and this was also fun.
Yeah.
To see
And
it, how it all grows right now. It's amazing. It's just
oh,
fantastic.
I can't. I mean, especially from 2012, like nobody knew what the word co-living meant. Nobody even knew what the word meant in 2016. So I can't even imagine. You've been seeing that evolution happen, which is probably
Yes.
exciting.
Yes, yes, yes. I've been, I've been living this. It was all new at the time. People didn't really know what is like PBSA gonna do to Europe, and it's changing. It's changing. Like purpose-built student accommodation has, I think, influenced the way nowadays we think about co-living as well. Because there is a purpose-built co-living in Europe, and this is rather big. So I think co-living in Europe has got slightly different face than in US, but that's what is so beautiful about co-living, that it's so diverse and there is so much room to develop. So I'm excited to see all of these different brands popping up and creating this disruption on the real estate market. It's
No, I
amazing.
love that. And let's just quickly again, because we do have listeners from around the world. And I know we
Hmm.
throw out acronyms, and I'm glad you said, purpose-built student accommodations for PBSA, because some people
Hmm.
don't know, they'll hear the acronym. So student accommodations for other people, again, I'm saying this more because I recently like have a clear grasp now being over there. Here in the States, we have large universities and we have dorms on site. Usually people live in dorms on campus. That's just the way, like, our universities in the States, I mean, probably because we have so much land and they can do that.
Hmm.
However, for people that don't understand, and again, I saw it firsthand, most universities, especially in Amsterdam and in Europe in general, are like almost office buildings, structures in the middle of a city, like even in Berlin,
Hmm.
and it's like, where does everybody live? Because they're not living in that building, because that's the university.
Yes.
They need to find accommodations, student accommodations. So then there's specific buildings built that are for students, but not technically dorms. Would you even call them dorms there in Europe? Not really.
Well, there are dorms. I think it depends on the country. Some countries still do have like typical dorms. I think what we see here in Amsterdam is what you just mentioned before. It's actually a hybrid of real estate and hospitality in urban environment. So that's a mix of like university, city, and everything around it, right? So students who come to, for example, to Amsterdam, where we are based, they do not live on a campus. They live around the city. So they might live in a student hotel. They might live at our campus, for example, or somewhere else. And they are completely connected to the city. So they're not. It's not like that they live, somewhere outside of the city and they only stay with students. They do mix a lot with young professionals. They participate actively in cultural life, in music life. There's a lot of festivals, just like you mentioned. So the city is alive. That's what it's so nice about. I think this European model, that the city actually benefits from this kind of developments. So that's why cities are very happy to have this kind of concepts popping up right in the middle of the center. They bring life. They have really cool areas. Sometimes they've got nice restaurants, gyms, that everybody can actually attend. So it's a nice blend. I think Charlie already told you, in the student hotel there were like students and then also seniors who are uh, like playing basketball, for example, in the West. I got shocked that this is going to work, but yeah, this was working. So that was a proof of concept. It's amazing.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'd shared my story too, coming home from work, because everybody's like, why are you living at the student hotel? And they think it's all students. And I'm like,
Hmm.
no, it's all ages. It's so cool. Like, I loved it. It was just a great blend of different
Hmm.
demographics and different ages. It wasn't just students. And honestly, if I was a student, I don't think I'd want to live with just all students either. Right.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's really cool.
exactly. That's I think what the student hotel is trying to do is to translate this idea of student. Uh, living in you forever. So it's more like a concept for people who are curious about life, who want to learn all the time. They organize these bed talks and other events. There is, but not only the student hotel. Obviously, there is a lot of other concepts here. I'm not going to promote any special one, but we've been working also on our campus, on our domain in Germany, on State 2. Each of them is different, but that's what is so beautiful actually about this diversity. Really allows to get different crowds, and there is everything for everyone.
Definitely. No, so Bart, I can tell you're super passionate about co-living. So like what makes you, I'm sure people can hear it in your voice how passionate you are about it. So what exactly gets you excited about co-living in general?
I think co-living, if we separate co-living into two, it's co and living. If you extend co, for me, it's community. So building these communities, I think this is something that really makes me excited, because I really believe that the future of the world is communities. When you belong to community, you feel better, you can talk to somebody, you're not a stranger. It also helps to solve mental problems, so I think that's there is a lot of reasons why we work in co-living. I've got obviously passion, but also mission and vision of what we are trying to do, thanks to branding, and we're just trying to make the world a better place, and thanks to bringing people together from different countries, from different cultures, religions. I think community is very important. That's what makes me very passionate about co-living. But there's many other things. There is obviously this idea of different people coming together and creating not only these moments, but they also create ideas. Sometimes they find partners, whether on personal level, or business level. So this helps to stimulate economy as well. So there's many different reasons, but I just called two. If you want, we can talk about it more, but I think there is limited time.
No, and I love it, Bart. That's my definition. Every time anybody tells me what is co-living, just define it. I'm like, it's the co part of co-living is community. Mm-hmm. That's like the most simple definition. Like you can't have co-living without community. Like I don't think it's possible.
But there's, I think, solving the housing shortage here in Europe is something important. When there's going to be more buildings, more concepts, the housing is going to be also more affordable. So there is many different reasons why co-living should exist and why it should develop further, right? And co-living has got also a very special role, I think, in building cities of tomorrow, because a lot of co-living concepts do really care about sustainability, and this is something that I think these days we are challenged with. How do we make the world actually last for a little bit longer than this prognosis?
Yeah, I love that. And then tell me, what makes SPX Agency, special amongst other design firms, especially when we're talking about the co-living sector?
What makes us special? I think the focus. We are very focused on this segment. So student housing, co-living, co-working, this blend of real estate and hospitality drives the passion. So it allows us to actually dive more. So we don't dilute. We really specialize. And as far as I'm concerned, there isn't many agencies being so focused, and this makes us special. And I think there is a room for many other agencies to work in this. We've been there early on, and thanks to this, we've been able to work with the first concepts popping up, learning from this, and I think the know-how, knowledge, business intelligence is making us special. We've been doing already a number of projects in different countries, and we established our own methodology. Working with these brands is a unique blend of already existing methodologies. We look into growing each of these businesses. So growth-driven design methodology or design thinking are definitely present there, and we just do it our way, but obviously with clients. So clients' objectives do translate, and there are business objectives for each of the clients, the different stakeholders, and we're trying to meet all of the expectations. So learning about what might be the expectation from investor, asset manager, developer, operator, up to like end customer is something that we do. We just want to understand everybody and just deliver a great product and experience, obviously.
Yes, I love that. And so obviously strong brand is important for any company in the world, not just co-living. But what I'm seeing right now in the sector, and again, it's such a new sector, just a few years old, but some people are, I'm going to open up a co-living operation and build this amazing community, and I'm super passionate about and excited. So I'm going to get a place, a building or house or whatever it is, and we're going to start bringing people in, and we're just going to go. And brand and all the brand identity, I think that's not really top of mind. Okay. And I've seen that done, and then maybe they'll get to the branding later and kind of add that layer on. Or I've seen people that have spent 6 months, some beautiful concepts where they've spent like 6 months just strictly fleshing out the branding, the look and feel, and just creating that essence before they even take their first guest or resident. So I would just love to hear you elaborate on that. What do you think, why is having a strong brand out the gate important?
I think it helps to engage people of different sorts. So when you think about your clients, you must have an idea of your target group, obviously, when you start a business. So when you start creating these different personas, you need to come up with all of the scenarios, how you're gonna attract these people, and what these people have in common. So what kind of facilities you need to provide. Obviously, operations, just like you mentioned, you are like obsessed about how to operate well these co-living brands. We're obsessed about how to brand them and how to market them, how to commercialize them, right? So I think, once again, it helps to engage with people. It helps to build a strong link, and it helps to brand to basically bring the brand to awareness, to existence. Strong brands have this in common, that they do know what they want from the concepts in 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and there are different formulas. With different clients, we've been doing this different ways. Sometimes it's good to focus firstly on operations and then later on translate this into branding. But having a strong brand in the beginning also helps you to attract more stakeholders. So if you want to attract investors and also some other partners, you need to have a strong brand with a specific tone of voice and specific visual language. Consistency throughout different media. That's very important. I think this is just creating more value. So brand is something that leads its own life, and I think each of the brands, each of the companies who are creating the brands are challenged by the question like how and why and where and by who do they create these experiences for and with, and it just helps to really focus and narrate, I believe. So that we help our clients to direct their focus into specific area over a certain period of time. So sometimes our clients, our prospects actually, or clients approach us when they are building buildings, sometimes before they even start building buildings, because they would like to attract investors to their brand, and they need to have very strong B2B marketing kit or different kind of concepts laid out, so everybody knows how everything is going to look like in the next couple of months. Sometimes we are being just asked to fill in the rooms. So pure marketing, and sometimes it's to enhance it because it has been done in specific way in the beginning, and they just come and they ask us, can you do anything about this? Can you make it better? And sometimes the answer is no, you cannot make it better. You can always make it better, but there is no point improving the brand at this moment. Let's just wait and see how users are going to experience this. So there's specific, like, I wouldn't call it seasonality, but periodic character to developing the brand. So every brand, every company is different, and that's why we approach each and every client very unique.
Yeah, no, and that's, and again, those listening that have a very super small operation, like, don't think you have to do this out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I think you nailed it. There's some that are looking for investor money and they need that polished look out before they even open. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe somebody is doing like bootstrapping and starting small, but
Exactly.
It's not to say like they don't bring you in later, and say, okay, great. Now we've got the budget to start adding branding elements and, marketing and just a look and feel and start fleshing that out. So
Mm-hmm.
what are like the top 5 branding like must-haves for co-living?
Mm-hmm. I think, you need to start with obviously having a strong brand identity and a concept, strong brand concept, and then a strong brand identity. This really helps you to get everybody aligned. So from obviously from founders up to investors, and people who are going to operate this building are going to know what the brand is talking about, what kind of mission, vision it has got in mind. It helps to narrate certain behaviors dealing with different partners and suppliers, and it helps really to maintain a certain level of consistency, right? This strong concept and brand identity. There is a set of guidelines. You've been you wrote a book about like manual how to do this. So we also do this for our clients, like how to basically operate the brand so it doesn't get inconsistent. So consistency, I think, is very, very important. If you have like strong operational team and you've got a strong brand and all the Excel sheets are well, you're just out there, to conquer the world. There's nothing to stop you. I think the formula is it's passion. It's passion for this co-living and hard work actually as well, because there's many things that still need to get improved, because we don't have necessarily all the technologies that are facilitating all of the needs, and there is still a lot of innovation that could be implemented. There is a number of prop tech technologies that could improve. So for us, I think branding is actually creating a different mix, like this marketing, architecture, design, branding, marketing. All of this comes together with technologies and creates this brand, because that's what is important for the end customer, to have it easy, and they just pay a certain fee and they want to enjoy life. They want to have super positive experience in these properties, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You need to facilitate it.
Yeah, right. And that's what you guys are good at doing, putting together. So I would love to hear from you, like what particular brands, and they don't necessarily need to be in co-living or student accommodation, but what brands inspire you?
I think there isn't any particular brand that inspires me. You have a brand that actually inspires me. I watch your video shows, and you are branding yourself, Christine. You've got yeah.
Well, somebody better.
Yeah, you have written a book, and you've got your shows. I think most of the people in the industry know your name. And there is a number of personal brands, people who talk on different events. They've got their own brands. There are like great brands from real estate. There are like great lifestyle brands. I don't want to promote any specific brand. I think I look into like how people actually experience brands and what actually ticks in their mind when they see certain brand. And I always like to ask question, why this brand, why not other, like if you're using Apple, why do you use Apple? Or like when you are like driving Volvo, why is it Volvo or not on any other brand? So I think it's really something that is personal. I think people connect with brands because you do convey certain message that attracts people, and that's what we try to help our clients to do as well. Connect with the people that they would love to have in the building, and to connect with. People who are not attracted to this brand, they're going to probably choose another operator. And there's a place for many. At this moment, the market can handle many more operators and developers working with co-living.
It's funny you mentioned, I know you're not picking one exactly, but Apple, like, so for me, Apple, I am a fan. It's a minimalistic design. It's very clean. I've always loved that brand. They've done an incredible job. And then WeWork, which I know they're getting a lot of heat right now because they're IPO filing. I feel so bad. I'm reading these like horrible articles lately. But personally, and people know that I've been a fan of theirs forever, since day one. And what they've done is like, love what their tagline, like love what you do. And they've kind of pulled the work, like the horrible cubicle work. I hate going to work on Monday mornings. And they've kind of shifted that way of thinking when it comes to co-working. I think they paved the road for all these other incredible, there's a million other amazing co-working concepts that the branding, I'm even like, whoa, that's even better. But I think on a large scale, WeWork's done an incredible job on the branding.
Yeah, we've been actually based in WeWork. We met at Zoku. Zoku is fantastic. We love Zoku. We had the conversation. We had like 15 minutes conversation about Zoku.
Yes.
You remember, right in the beginning, they've got such a great concept. There are many brands. Citizen M from Amsterdam. There's Booking.com is doing great stuff. Google, what Google does to their spaces, co-working spaces, communal areas, right? Like I drive Volvo, but there might be some people who prefer BMW or Mercedes, and I'm not the one who's judging. I do use Apple. Most of I think graphic designer or branding agencies do use this hardware, but we also use Adobe, and there is like so many other brands that you just use, and they're really inspiring, So we actually get a lot of energy from creating and then seeing how people interact with the brands. That's constant learning process, and if you see how brands evolve, it's also interesting to observe, because people change preferences, and also I think the co-living is going to change in the next couple of years, as there is going to be more players. At some point there's going to be a need for positioning, so you will have to be a little bit different than somebody else. Right now there might be similar concepts, so they may get away with offering the same facilities, amenities, but at some point you need to distinguish yourself. And we see it in student housing here in Europe is getting denser and denser. So you need to position or reposition. You need to create a new brand identity or revamp the old one. And it's a constant growth with your customers in mind.
And wait until these other age demographics start coming into co-living, right? Because it's so solely, the biggest chunk is that 25 to 35-year-old. So that's like all the design is targeting that group, and I have people reaching out, that are baby boomers that are still at their, and it's not senior communities, right? They're too young for that, but they want to travel the world, but they want to be around people of their age. So what does that look and feel in branding? And what does that co-living environment provide for the baby boomers versus the seniors versus the millennials? millennials, then Gen Z. Like there's so many sectors. So you're exactly right. I think there's so much room for just more
Of
people,
course.
more concepts, more designs, look and feels. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm really excited. We're so new into this really cool industry, and then we can look back in 10 years and say, oh, remember when
Yeah.
it was just 25 to
Yeah.
35-year-olds and that's all people cared about for co-living. So my last question, Bart, and then thanks again for your time today. This has been really cool, again, talking about
Pleasure.
this part of co-living, the design and branding aspects. So where do you see co-living going in the next 10 years?
I think what I just mentioned, I think there is going to be a bit more of purpose-built co-living. So especially in these urban areas where you do have need for utilized spaces, people will recycle certain buildings, right? So they might be repurposed, but with a mind of facilitating a co-living brand. There is still some room in Europe to build in the cities. There are few available spots in Amsterdam and other cities. It's difficult to get. I think it's getting tougher, but I think co-living. What is interesting, and I think I'm glad actually that you brought this up. This older generation. I think we will see definitely the senior housing borrowing a bit more from co-living concepts, because people do really need experience and they need somebody else out there, right? Obviously in different demographics, age groups, but as we are getting older, at least what we see here in Europe, our society is getting older and older. We will see definitely that definitely senior housing will be picking up something from co-living, and also I think student housing and co-living concepts. So these young professionals, they might also merge, and I think this is something that could be interesting. That's what the student hotel is already doing. They're trying to accelerate this talents, from students level to like young professionals and professionals, but there's going to be a number of like rural co-living, which are already like popping up like mushrooms after the rain in really like hot locations here in Europe, like Spain, Portugal, Italy. And there's going to be remote co-living. There is you probably know in Switzerland and Austria there's like a couple of co-living places that are completely remote, maybe for retreats. So I think there's going to be a diverse blend of co-living concepts popping up here and there. And let's see what the future brings. I really don't know. I mean, I can just imagine, I can observe and analyze, but I think each year we've got new concepts coming to life, and each of them is surprising. And I'm like, wow, how these people came up with this, and I'm like, fantastic. It's great to see it. Like, I cheer to everybody. To competitors, to developers, to prospects, to clients, everybody who's jumping into this. It's some kind of disruption. I wouldn't call this like revolution, because nobody is like, protesting, but people cooperate, so co-living is about cooperation, and that's what is so beautiful. So I'm glad that people just get together, just like we do, right? We just had lunch together.
Yeah,
And,
no, it was amazing.
And
I
now
love
we're
that.
talking on...
Yeah, on video, and it's 2 different continents, right? I'm over in California and you're there. And that's, and that's a great thing, is we can look at YouTube's probably not going anywhere in 10 years, hopefully not, or podcasts. So people can listen to this interview in the future and listen back and say, oh, whoa, like, yeah, that was just the start. That was just the start of co-living. So Bart, thank you again so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it. We'll have all your contact information. Everybody can check out your websites, your beautiful work you've done in this space, and reach out if they need help with their branding and their concept.
Of course. Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you want to learn more about co-living, you could check out my book on Amazon, The Co-Living Code. And of course, if you're looking for the perfect software to power your co-living concept, check out kindred.io, KNDRD.io. Thanks. And a quick thank you to SPX Agency for all of the graphics, animation, and design on our YouTube channel.